Director Minu stood at the observation window of New Seoul Station. He watched the stars with calm eyes. For 1,000 years, humanity had lived in peace. No wars, no fighting, no killing, just exploration, trade, and friendship with other species across the galaxy. Minu was proud of this achievement. He led the Galactic Human Coalition, which governed 847 worlds. Every world was peaceful. Every station was safe. Children grew up never knowing the fear of war. It was a good time to be alive. On Earth, Dr. Park walked through her museum. The Museum of Ancient Conflicts held weapons and displays from humanity's violent past. Swords, guns, bombs, and warships filled the halls. Visitors came to learn about the bad old days. They would look at the weapons and shake their heads. "How terrible," they would say. "Thank goodness we're past all that." Smiled at them. She knew the truth, but she kept it to herself. The museum was more than it appeared, much more. But there was no need to worry people with such thoughts. Peace had lasted so long that most humans forgot why the museum existed. Captain Lee commanded the diplomatic vessel called Eternal Dawn. His ship traveled the outer edges of human space. He and his crew met new species, helped with trade problems, and kept the peace. It was easy work. Most days were boring. "Another quiet day," said Chief Engineer Sora. She checked her screens and found nothing interesting. The ship's engines hummed softly. Everything worked perfectly. It always did. "I almost miss having something to do," said Communications Specialist Han. He leaned back in his chair. 5 years of handshakes and tea parties. When does something exciting happen? Medical Officer laughed. "Be careful what you wish for. Exciting usually means someone gets hurt." Lieutenant Shin joined the military for adventure. She wanted to see the galaxy and meet aliens. So far, she had done both. But sometimes she wondered what it was like in the old days when soldiers actually fought. She read history books about battles and tactics. Her friends thought she was strange for studying such things. On the farming colony of Haven's Gate, Governor Nam watched children play in the fields. Farmer drove his harvester through golden crops. Teacher Bora taught students about mathematics and art. Life was simple. Life was good. Nobody worried about danger from space. Then everything changed. The sensors on New Seoul Station screamed warnings. Minu rushed to the command center. His assistant, young Jinna Lee, pulled up the data with shaking hands. "Sir, something massive just appeared at Sector 7, she said. "It's a fleet, a huge fleet." Defense Coordinator Park arrived quickly. He studied the screens with concern. 10,000 ships, he said slowly. "That's the biggest fleet I've ever seen." Chief Scientist Dr. Song ran calculations. "Their technology looks advanced. Energy shields, plasma weapons, ships the size of moons. They're not here for a friendly visit." A transmission came through. The screen showed an alien creature with 4 arms and red scales. Its eyes burned with anger and pride. This was Warlord of the Empire. "Humans," the Warlord's voice boomed. The Empire has conquered 47 civilizations across 3 galaxies. Now we come for you. You have 72 hours to surrender. Give us your worlds. Pay us tribute. Send us your soldiers to fight in our armies. If you refuse, we will exterminate every human in the galaxy." The transmission ended. The command center fell silent. Everyone stared at the screen. This kind of thing didn't happen anymore. Wars were history. Threats were from ancient times. Nobody talked like this in the modern galaxy. Minu looked at the screen for a long moment. Then something unexpected happened. He started to laugh. It began as a small chuckle. Then it grew louder. Soon he was laughing hard, holding his sides. Looked at his director with confusion. Then he began to laugh too. Covered her mouth, but laughter escaped. Even serious Jinna started giggling. Within moments, everyone in the command center was laughing. "Did he really just threaten us?" gasped between laughs. "Us, humanity, after 1,000 years of peace?" "He has no idea," said, wiping tears from her eyes. Oh, this poor fool has no idea what he just did. The laughter spread across human space. Every station, every colony, every ship received the transmission, and everywhere humans had the same reaction. They laughed. On Haven's Gate, Governor gathered his people in the town square. He played the message on the big screen. The crowd watched. Then they began to laugh. Children pointed at the alien and made jokes. Adults shook their heads in amusement. "Mommy, is that alien serious?" asked a little girl. "I don't think he understands who he's talking to, sweetie," her mother replied with a smile. News stations treated the threat as comedy. Talk show hosts made jokes. Social media exploded with memes showing the warlord's angry face with funny captions. "Bad day to threaten humanity." Someone forgot to read the history books. "Earth to aliens. Wrong millennium, buddy." Captain received the transmission on eternal dawn. His crew gathered on the bridge to watch. When it ended, Sora burst into laughter. "Finally," she said with joy, "something interesting." Grinned widely. "Looks like someone picked the wrong species to bully." Shook her head. "They really should have done their research." Smiled calmly. He knew what would come next. His crew knew too. They had all been waiting for this day, even though they hoped it would never arrive. Across the galaxy, the fleet prepared for an easy conquest. They had destroyed many civilizations. Humans would be no different. The laughter confused them, but confusion would turn to fear soon enough. Warlord sat on his command throne. His tactical officer, sub-commander, looked worried. "My lord, the humans are laughing at us. Every single one of them. I don't understand." Slammed his fist on the armrest. "They mock us. They think we're weak. We'll show them fear. We'll show them death. Target the nearest colony. Destroy it completely. Leave no survivors. That will stop their laughter." The fleet turned toward Haven's Gate. 10,000 warships began their attack run. But in the command center of New Sol Station, Director Minu stopped laughing. His face became serious. He looked at with sad eyes. "It's time," Minu said quietly. "Send the order. Authorization code Alpha 1000. End the Millennium Peace Protocol." Nodded, he typed the code into his terminal. All across human space, hidden systems received the command. Ancient facilities powered up. Secret installations activated. The long sleep was over. "May the ancestors forgive us," Minu whispered. "We tried to leave war behind, but if they want to meet the humans from the history books, we'll show them." The peaceful era was ending. The Empire was about to learn why humanity chose peace. They were about to discover what happened when you woke a sleeping dragon. Warlord watched the targeting displays with satisfaction. Haven's Gate appeared on his screens. A peaceful farming world. 50 million humans living simple lives. No military installations visible. No defense fleet in orbit. Just one old orbital platform that looked like it might fall apart on its own. "Perfect," growled. "We'll burn this world. The other humans will see what happens when they mock the Empire." Sub-Commander felt uneasy. The humans still laughed. Every transmission from that planet showed people joking and making funny pictures. Some were even having parties. It made no sense. Did they not understand death was coming? "My lord, perhaps we should investigate further. Their behavior is strange." "They're fools," roared. "Weak fools who forgot how to fight. We've seen this before. Soft civilizations fall quickly. Begin the attack." The fleet moved into position. Thousands of plasma cannons charged. The weapons glowed bright red as power built up, then gave the order. "Fire everything." Space lit up like a second sun. Plasma bolts rained down on Haven's Gate. The orbital platform tried to activate its shields, but the ancient systems failed. The weapons tore through it like paper. Metal twisted and burned. The platform broke apart and fell toward the planet. On the surface, alarms rang out. Governor stood in the emergency command center. He watched the attack with calm eyes. "All citizens, this is your governor," he announced over every screen and speaker. Please move to the shelters in an orderly fashion. No need to rush. We have 30 minutes before the bombardment reaches the surface. Take your time. Bring your pets." Farmer helped his neighbors climb into the shelter beneath his barn. Teacher Bora guided her students down the stairs under the school. Nobody panicked. Nobody screamed. They had practiced this drill many times, though most thought it was just pretend. "Teacher Bora, are the aliens really attacking?" asked the young boy. "Yes, they are," Bora replied with a smile. "But don't worry, the grown-ups are handling it." "Will we be safe?" "Completely safe. The bad aliens don't know what they're dealing with." Above, the plasma bombardment hit the surface. Cities burned, fields turned to ash, forests exploded into flames, buildings collapsed. From orbit it looked like the end of the world. They poured more fire down. They wanted nothing left alive. Laughed as he watched. "See, they die like everyone else. Their laughter stops now." But in the underground shelters, families sat comfortably. The shelters were deep, and very strong. Children played games. Adults watched the bombardment on video screens like it was a show. Some people made popcorn. "Look at that explosion," said to his neighbor. "That was my barn. I just built that last year." "Don't worry," his neighbor replied. "Insurance will cover it. Plus, I heard we get compensation bonuses when aliens attack." "Really? Might finally afford that new harvester." On Eternal Dawn, Captain received a priority transmission. It was from Director Menu himself. "Captain Lee," Menu's voice was serious. "You are cleared for protocol release. Authorization confirmed. Respond accordingly." Felt his heart beat faster. After 5 years of pretending the truth could come out, he looked at his crew. They all had the same expression: relief, excitement, purpose. "Sora, how long?" asked. 30 seconds to full combat mode," the engineer replied. Her fingers flew across her console. "I've been keeping everything perfect for this day. She'll wake up beautiful." "Send a message to that fleet. Tell them they made a mistake." "Yes, sir. What kind of message?" Smiled coldly. "The last one they'll ever ignore." Throughout human space, similar conversations happened on every ship. The authorization code reached every station, every colony, every hidden facility. Systems that had slept for 1,000 years began to wake. On Earth, Doctor stood in her museum as the lights changed from warm yellow to cold blue. She heard machinery moving beneath her feet. The floor vibrated. Around her, weapon displays retracted into walls. Holographic exhibits vanished. The beautiful museum transformed. "Computer, seal the building," said calmly. "Activate security protocols. Access code, Park Historian 7. "Confirmed," the computer replied. "Museum of Ancient Conflicts entering combat readiness. Vault systems online. Defensive grid active. Welcome back, Colonel Park." Colonel, that was her real rank, wasn't just a historian. None of the museum staff were just historians. They were soldiers, guardians, keepers of humanity's most dangerous secrets. And now those secrets would be revealed. The floor opened. Platforms descended into the depths. Road 1 down, past level after level of sealed chambers. Each level held weapons humanity swore to never use again. Technology from the Unification Wars. Machines from the AI crisis. Genetic weapons from the Gene War era. Things so terrible that humanity locked them away when peace came. But they never destroyed them. They just waited. On New Sol Station, Defense Coordinator entered the war room. He hadn't been inside in 20 years. The last time was for a drill. Now it was real. The room came alive. Holographic displays showed every human asset in the galaxy. Ships, stations, colonies, and the hidden ones, the secret ones. Admiral Song appeared on one of the screens. She looked old, but her eyes were sharp and hard. Most people knew her as a historical who played war games for entertainment. The truth was different, very different. "Admiral Song reporting," she said. "The Black Fleet is ready. All ships functional, all crews standing by. We can launch in 1 hour. Nodded, prepare to engage. Target, fleet at Haven's Gate. Show them what real warships look like. On Eternal Dawn, the transformation completed. The diplomatic ship's outer hull split open. Panels slid away. Hidden weapons emerged. The soft curves became sharp angles. The friendly appearance melted into something predatory, something deadly. Sora laughed with pure joy as her console showed green lights everywhere. Main online, secondary batteries charged, point defense systems active, shield generators at maximum. Oh, I've missed this. Weapons hot, Captain, said from her station. The medical officer was also the weapons officer. Everyone on the crew had two jobs, the peaceful job and the real job. Opened a channel to the fleet. His face appeared on screen. Commander, this is Captain Lee of the human ship Eternal Dawn. You attacked a civilian colony. That was your first mistake. Not surrendering immediately was your second. You have 10 seconds to power down your weapons and prepare for capture. This is your only warning. Stared at the screen in confusion. The friendly diplomatic ship now looked like death itself. Where did those weapons come from? And why was this human so calm? You dare threaten me, 1 ship against 10,000, you're insane. 9 seconds, replied. Destroy that ship, screamed at his crew, kill them all. 3 seconds, 2, 1, closed the channel and looked at his crew. Engage. Eternal Dawn moved. The ship accelerated so fast it seemed to teleport. One moment it was stationary. The next, it was in the middle of the formation. The main fired. The shot punched through 3 capital ships like they were made of tissue. They exploded in sequence. First blood, Sora cheered. That's 3 for us. The fleet tried to respond, but they were too slow. Eternal Dawn danced between their ships, firing constantly. Every shot hit. Every hit killed. The human ship moved in ways that violated physics, or so it seemed to the. They didn't understand human technology. They didn't understand human speed. On Haven's Gate, the plasma bombardment suddenly stopped. Not because the stopped firing, but because a shield appeared around the entire planet. A massive energy barrier that absorbed every hit. The shield glowed bright blue as plasma splashed harmlessly against it. Governor smiled. Shield operational. All weapon systems, you are cleared to engage. Show them we're not helpless. The planet's surface opened. Hundreds of hidden silos revealed themselves. Missile launchers rose from underground. Rail cannons emerged from fake mountains. Energy weapons unfolded from beneath parking lots. Haven's Gate was never just a farming colony. It was a fortress. They all were. The planet fired everything at once. The sky lit up with outgoing fire. Ships exploded by the dozens. Their shields meant nothing. Their armor meant nothing. Human weapons cut through them like nothing was there. Watched his fleet dying. He couldn't understand what was happening. These were supposed to be peaceful farmers and diplomats. Where did this military power come from? All ships retreat, he ordered. Fall back now. But it was too late. More human ships were arriving. They appeared from nowhere, weapons already firing. And behind them, something else was coming. Something that made every warrior feel fear for the first time in their lives. The Black Fleet was awakening. The dimensional barrier tore open like fabric. Space itself rippled and bent. Through the opening came ships that made the fleet look like toys. The Black Fleet emerged from its 1,000-year hiding place. 5,000 warships appeared in perfect formation. Each one was sleek and black, absorbing light instead of reflecting it. They looked like pieces of night given shape and purpose. At the front flew the flagship Peacekeeper, a name chosen with dark humor by humans who remembered why the fleet was built. Admiral Song stood on the bridge of Peacekeeper. She was 94 years old but looked 60 thanks to medical technology. Her gray hair was tied back. Her uniform was crisp and clean. She had worn it in secret for decades, waiting for this moment. hopping it would never come, prepared in case it did. All ships, this is Admiral's song. Battle formation Sierra 7, weapons free on my command. Remember your training, remember who we are. We are humanity's final argument, let's make it count. 5,000 captains acknowledged the order. They were all graduates of the Academy, the secret military school hidden on a moon nobody visited. For 1,000 years, the Academy trained warriors while the rest of humanity lived in peace. Most humans never knew it existed. That was the point. Warlord saw the Black Fleet and felt something he hadn't felt in decades. Fear. Real, deep fear. Those ships radiated death. Every sensor screamed warnings. Every tactical display showed red alerts. "What are those things?" Sub-Commander whispered. "I don't know," admitted, "but we need to leave. Now, all ships, emergency jump, get us out of here." "Jump engines are charging, my lord. 3 minutes until ready." "We don't have 3 minutes, go faster." On Peacekeeper, Admiral opened a channel to the fleet. Her old face appeared on every enemy screen. She spoke calmly, like a teacher explaining something simple to slow students. "Commander, you made 3 mistakes. First, you thought peace meant weakness. We are peaceful by choice, not necessity. Second, you attacked our civilians, our children, our families. That makes us angry. Third, you didn't surrender when Captain Lee gave you the chance. That makes this personal." She paused, letting her words sink in. Then her expression hardened into something cold and terrible. "You wanted to meet humanity, congratulations. Now you'll meet the humans from the history books, the humans who burned worlds, the humans who built weapons that scared even themselves. We locked those humans away 1,000 years ago. You just let them out. Fleet, engage targets, leave nothing." The Black Fleet opened fire. The battlefield became chaos. Human weapons demonstrated technologies that shouldn't exist. Singularity torpedoes created miniature black holes that swallowed ships. Quantum disruptors phased enemy vessels out of reality, erasing them from existence. Missiles broke apart into millions of tiny machines that ate through armor atom by atom. But the worst were the large missiles that flew into the center of formations before detonating. They didn't explode with fire or force. Instead, they released the same energy found in the heart of a star. For 3 seconds, a tiny sun burned in space. When the light faded, hundreds of ships were just vapor. Captain watched the Black Fleet's assault from eternal dawn. His crew worked their stations with practiced efficiency. They had destroyed 20 ships so far. It wasn't enough. They wanted more. "Target that carrier," ordered, "the big one trying to run." "Locked," said, firing. The spoke. The magnetic accelerator launched a tungsten rod at a significant portion of light speed. The projectile hit the carrier's engines. The ship broke in half. Both pieces tumbled through space, trailing atmosphere and bodies. 21, counted Sora. "We're falling behind. The Black Fleet is scoring way more kills than us." "We're a diplomatic ship," reminded her. "They're the dedicated war machines." "Still feels like we should be doing more." Smiled, "Don't worry, we'll get our chance. Someone has to capture prisoners for questioning. That's where we shine." On Haven's Gate, the shield held strong. The planetary weapons continued firing. Governor coordinated the defense from his command center. Tactical displays showed every battle in orbit. The fleet was dying fast. "Sir, should we stop firing?" asked his tactical officer. "The Black Fleet has the situation under control." "Keep shooting," replied. "They attacked our home. They killed our neighbors when they bombed the surface before shields activated. They don't get mercy, they get justice." Teacher Bora sat in the shelter with her students. They watched the battle on screens. The children cheered every time a ship exploded. It looked like a video game to them. They were too young to understand the reality of death. Bora was glad for that. "Teacher, why are we so much stronger than the aliens?" asked a girl. "Because we learned hard lessons," Bora answered. Long ago, humans fought terrible wars. We built terrible weapons. Many people died. So we decided to stop fighting. We put away the weapons, but we didn't destroy them. We kept them just in case someone forced us to fight again. Like these aliens. Exactly like these aliens. On Earth, Colonel Park walked through the deepest vault. Around her stood rows of machines that had terrified humanity's ancestors. The Omega Protocols, weapons so dangerous that using them required authorization from 3 separate leaders. Even now, with war renewed, these weapons stayed locked. The Black Fleet was enough. These ultimate weapons would only be used if humanity faced extinction. Touched one of the machines gently. "Sleep a little longer," she whispered. "Maybe forever. Maybe we won't need you this time." The war room on New Sol Station buzzed with activity. Defense Coordinator watched data flow across dozens of screens. The battle was going exactly as predicted. They were losing badly. Their superior numbers meant nothing against superior technology and training. Chief Scientist analyzed the weapons as reports came in. "Their technology is actually quite good," she noted. "For primitives, they're using plasma weapons we abandoned 600 years ago, energy shields based on theories we disproved 400 years ago. No wonder they thought they were advanced. They probably are compared to most species." "Just not compared to us," said. "Just not compared to us," agreed. Director Minu watched everything from his office. He felt sad rather than triumphant. This was necessary, but it wasn't good. War was never good, even when you won, especially when you won too easily. It meant the other side never had a chance. He opened a channel to Admiral Song. "Admiral, status report." "We've destroyed 70% of the fleet," Song replied. "Minimal damage to our forces. 6 ships have reported light damage. No casualties. The enemy is trying to retreat, but their jump drives need time to charge. We're targeting engines to prevent escape. Capture the command ship if possible. We need prisoners. We need information. We need to know if more are coming." "Understood. I'm sending Boarding Team Alpha. They're the best." Boarding Team Alpha consisted of 12 Special Forces soldiers led by Lieutenant. They wore powered armor that made them stronger and faster. They carried weapons that could punch through any armor. They had trained for 1,000 years for missions that never came. Until now. And his team launched from Peacekeeper in a small assault craft. They flew through the chaos of battle toward the command ship. Enemy point defense weapons tried to shoot them down but missed every time. The assault craft was too fast, too agile. "Breaching in 30 seconds, announced the pilot. "Hold on." The craft slammed into the hull. Cutting lasers burned through the armor. The team jumped through the hole into a corridor filled with angry warriors. The aliens were big, strong, armed with energy rifles and blades. They were trained killers who had conquered 47 civilizations. They lasted 12 seconds against Boarding Team Alpha. Moved like a ghost. His powered armor made him faster than any. His rifle fired smart bullets that curved around corners. His combat computer highlighted targets before his conscious mind even saw them. The warriors fired at where he was, but he was already somewhere else. His team moved with the same efficiency. They flowed through the ship like water, unstoppable and everywhere at once. Soldiers tried to set up defensive positions. The humans went through or around them. Nothing worked. Nothing stopped them. "Bridge located," said. 3 corridors ahead, heavy resistance." "Breaching charges ready," replied his demolitions expert. They placed shaped charges on the bridge door. The explosion was precise and controlled. The door became shrapnel that flew inward. His team rushed through the smoke. Warlord stood with his guards around him. They all pointed weapons at the humans. For a moment, nobody moved, then spoke. "You'll never take me alive, human." Removed his helmet. His face was kind despite the situation. He looked like someone's friendly neighbor, not a soldier. "We don't want you dead, Warlord. We want you to learn, to understand, to go home and tell your people what happens when they attack humanity. Please don't make us kill you. Surrender. Let this end. Looked at the young human, then at his own guards, then at the bodies of his warriors in the corridor behind the boarding team. The battle outside showed on his screens. His fleet was gone. His empire's mighty armada had lasted less than an hour against humanity. He dropped his weapon. His guards did the same. They had no choice. The fight was over. Smiled sadly. Thank you, you made the right choice. The battle was over in 3 hours. 3 hours from the first shot to the last enemy ship surrendering. The Empire came with 10,000 warships expecting easy conquest. They left with 1,000 ships in custody and 9,000 destroyed. Their mighty fleet that had conquered 47 civilizations was broken. Warlord sat in a holding cell on Peacekeeper. The room was clean and comfortable, too comfortable for a prisoner. There was a bed, a desk, even a window showing space outside. He could see the wreckage of his fleet floating in the darkness. Thousands of dead warriors, his responsibility. The door opened. Lieutenant entered carrying 2 cups of tea. He set one in front of and sat down across from him. The warlord stared at the tea like it might be poison. It's not drugged, said. It's just tea. We believe prisoners should be treated with dignity. You destroy my fleet, kill millions of my people, and offer me tea. His voice was bitter. Is this some kind of torture? No torture. We're not that kind of species anymore. We stopped being that species 1,000 years ago. The tea is just tea. Drink it or don't. Picked up the cup. The tea was warm and smelled pleasant. He drank. It tasted better than anything in culture. That somehow made everything worse. Why didn't you destroy us in the first hour? Asked. You clearly could have. You held back. Why? Sipped his own tea. Because that's not who we are. We fought only enough to stop you from hurting anyone else. Once you were no longer a threat, the battle ended. We don't enjoy killing. We're good at it, but we don't enjoy it. Then what are you? We're humans who remember war, who studied it, who prepared for it. Hopping, we'd never need to use what we learned. You made us use it. For that, we're almost grateful. You reminded us why peace matters. On New Sol Station, Director Minu gave a broadcast to the entire galaxy. Every species with communication technology received it. Every civilization that could hear listened. The message was important. Minu stood in front of cameras with Earth visible through the window behind him. He looked tired but determined. He spoke clearly so everyone would understand. People of the galaxy, this is Director Minu of the Galactic Human Coalition. 3 days ago, the Empire attacked humanity. They demanded our surrender. They threatened our extinction. They destroyed one of our orbital platforms and damaged the surface of Haven's Gate colony. 247 humans died in that attack before our shields activated. He paused. The number was small compared to the losses, but each death mattered. In response, humanity ended the Millennium Peace Protocol. We revealed weapons and forces we hoped to never use again. In 3 hours, we defeated the invasion fleet. We did this not because we enjoy war, but because we had no choice. They gave us no choice. Minu's expression became serious. For 1,000 years, we lived in peace. We explored, we created. We built a civilization focused on growth and friendship. We did this by choice. We chose peace. We chose to lock away our weapons. We chose to forget how to fight. But choice means we could also choose differently if forced. He gestured to displays showing the Black Fleet. Some of you watching are species we've met and befriended. You knew us as peaceful neighbors. You're probably confused or scared now. Don't be. We're still the same humans. We still want peace. We still prefer diplomacy to war. But you needed to know the truth. Peace is our choice, not our nature. The camera showed footage of the battle, ships exploding, human weapons firing. The destruction was complete and overwhelming. Others watching are species considering aggression against humanity or our friends. For you, this message is different. Don't, just don't. We've shown you what happens. We've demonstrated our capabilities. Learn from the mistake. Choose peace. Choose trade. Choose friendship. Because if you choose war, you choose this. The footage shifted to the wreckage field. Thousands of destroyed ships, the grave of an armada. To the Empire we offer terms. Your fleet is destroyed. Your warlord is our prisoner, but we don't want your empire. We don't want your worlds. We want you to stop conquering other species. Stop enslaving civilizations. Change your ways or face consequences. We won't invade your territory, but if you invade anyone else's territory, we'll stop you. This is not negotiable. Minu's face softened. To everyone else we say this. The Millennium Peace Protocol is being reactivated. Our weapons are being locked away again. The Black Fleet returns to storage. Our soldiers return to peaceful lives. We're going back to who we were 3 days ago, but now you know the truth. Now everyone knows. Humanity is peaceful because we choose peace. We're strong enough to choose. The broadcast ended. Across the galaxy, leaders and citizens processed what they heard. Some felt relief. Some felt fear. All felt respect. Humanity had changed the balance of power forever. On Haven's Gate, life slowly returned to normal. The shields came down. Citizens emerged from shelters. They looked at their damaged cities and burned fields. Then they started rebuilding. Farmer looked at his destroyed barn and shrugged. "Well, time to build a bigger one," he said. Teacher Bora took her students on a field trip to see the crater where plasma fire hit the ground. She used it as a geology lesson. The kids collected rock samples melted by alien weapons. They would show the samples at the science fair. Governor coordinated reconstruction efforts. The planetary government paid compensation to everyone who lost property. Insurance companies processed claims. Construction crews started work immediately. Within months, Haven's Gate would look better than before. The attack would become history, a story to tell. Captain and the crew of Eternal Dawn returned to diplomatic duties. Their ship transformed back into its peaceful appearance. Weapons retracted. Armor plating folded away. The friendly diplomatic vessel emerged again. They went back to hosting tea parties and negotiating trade agreements. "Think we'll ever see action again?" asked. "Hope not," replied. 3 hours of combat is enough for a lifetime. I prefer boring." Sora looked disappointed. "I was hopping for at least a week of fighting. 3 hours felt too short." "Be grateful it was short," said. "Short means fewer casualties. Short means we're good at what we do. Short is better." On Earth, Colonel Park sealed the Museum of Ancient Conflicts again. The weapons returned to their displays. The vault doors closed. The floor sealed over. Within hours, the museum looked exactly as it had before. Tourists would return. School groups would visit. Nobody would know that beneath their feet slept weapons that could end civilizations. Walked through the galleries one last time before leaving. She stopped at a sword display. The blade was 3,000 years old. Humans used swords before they had spaceships, before they had guns, before they had peace. "We've come so far," she whispered to the sword. "We gave up violence. We chose better, but we remembered you. We kept you close, just in case. And now we're putting you away again. Sleep well, sleep forever if we're lucky." Admiral Song stood on the bridge of Peacekeeper as the Black Fleet prepared to return to storage. 5,000 ships would jump back into the dimensional pocket where they waited for 1,000 years. Maybe they would wait another 1,000. Maybe longer. Maybe forever. "All ships, this is Admiral Song. Final broadcast before we return to sleep. You did your duty perfectly. You ended the threat quickly and efficiently. You saved human lives and taught the galaxy a lesson. I'm proud of every one of you. When we wake again, if we wake again, remember this day. Remember we fight only to protect. We destroy only to save. We're warriors, but we serve peace. That's what makes us different. That's what makes us human." 5,000 captains saluted. 5,000 crews stood at attention. Then the Black Fleet vanished. Space folded. Dimensions shifted. The warships disappeared into their hiding place. The secret guardians returned to their secret sleep. Warlord watched from his cell window. He saw the Black Fleet vanish, saw the human forces withdraw, saw the galaxy return to peace, as if nothing had happened, as if the last 3 days were a dream. But they weren't a dream. They were a lesson, a terrible, necessary lesson. Visited him again. Tomorrow we're sending you home. You and the other prisoners. We'll give you ships, food, supplies for the journey. Tell your people what you learned here. What did I learn? Asked bitterly. That humans are stronger than. No, you learned that peace is a choice. We chose it. You can choose it too. You can stop conquering, stop enslaving, start building instead of destroying. That's the lesson. That's what we want you to take home. Looked at the young human soldier. What if we don't? What if we come back? Smiled sadly. Then we'll stop you again and again, as many times as necessary until you learn, or until you're gone. We hope you learn. We really do, but the choice is yours. 6 months passed since the attack. The galaxy had changed in small but important ways. Trade routes adjusted. Diplomatic relationships shifted. Every species now understood the truth about humanity. Peace was their choice, not their limitation. Warlord returned to the home world as a changed being. His empire's ruling council wanted to punish him for failure. They wanted to rebuild the fleet and attack humanity again. Stopped them. You weren't there, he told the council. You didn't see what I saw. They destroyed our fleet in 3 hours. 3 hours. And they were holding back. They could have killed us all in minutes. They chose to capture us instead. They chose mercy when they could have chosen extinction. The council didn't believe him at first, so showed them recordings from the battle. He showed them human weapons that violated known physics, ships that moved too fast, guns that hit too hard, shields that absorbed everything. The council watched in silence. We can't beat them, said quietly. We can't even hurt them. Our only choice is to change, to become better, to stop conquering and start building. It took time. The empire didn't change overnight, but slowly, carefully, they began choosing differently. They freed some slave species. They negotiated instead of demanding. They traded instead of stealing. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't fast, but it was progress. Himself requested permission to visit Earth, to study at the Museum of Ancient Conflicts. Director Minu granted the request. The former warlord arrived on Earth 6 months after his defeat. Dr. Park greeted him at the museum entrance. Welcome, she said. Are you ready to learn? I don't know, he admitted, but I need to try. Took him through the galleries. She showed him weapons from humanity's past. Swords, guns, bombs, nuclear missiles, genetic plagues, reality-breaking machines. Each display told a story of humanity's capacity for violence. We built all of this, explained. We used all of this against each other, against ourselves. Humans killed humans for thousands of years. We were very good at killing, too good. Then what changed? Asked. We got tired of death, tired of loss, tired of burying our children, so we made a choice. We decided peace was better than victory. We decided cooperation was stronger than conquest. We decided to lock away the weapons and try something different. The Millennium Peace. Yes, 1,000 years of no war, no weapons, no killing. It worked. We were happy, we grew, we explored, we became better than we were. Looked at a display showing the unification wars. Millions of humans died in those conflicts. The images were terrible. But you kept the weapons. Why? Met his eyes. Because peace requires strength. If we destroyed everything, we'd be helpless. Someone would take advantage. Someone would attack. So we kept the weapons. We kept the knowledge. We kept people like me who remember how to fight, just in case. Just in case someone forced us to choose violence again. Like the, agreed gently. You gave us no choice. We tried to laugh it off. We tried to show you how ridiculous your threat was, but you attacked anyway, so we had to stop you. Spent weeks at the museum. He studied human history. He learned about the wars, the suffering, the hard lessons humanity learned. He began to understand why humans valued peace so highly. They knew the alternative. They had lived the alternative. They chose differently because they knew the cost. On Haven's Gate, life continued. The damaged cities were rebuilt better than before. Farmer completed his new barn. It was twice as big as the old one and had better equipment. Teacher Bora's students presented their science fair projects. The plasma-melted rocks won first prize. Governor stood at a memorial ceremony. A simple stone monument listed the names of the 247 people who died in the attack. It was the first war memorial humanity built in 1,000 years. Families gathered to remember their loved ones. "They died so we could remember," said in his speech. "Remember that peace is precious. Remember that peace requires protection. Remember that we must always be ready to defend what we love, but also remember that we must always choose peace first. Always." The crowd stood in silence. Children placed flowers at the memorial. Adults hugged each other. Nobody wanted more names added to that stone. Nobody wanted another memorial built. Captain continued his diplomatic missions. He visited species across the galaxy. Some were afraid of him now. They looked at Eternal Dawn and saw the warship beneath the friendly exterior. They knew what the ship could do, what he could do. "We're still the same humans you knew before," told a nervous ambassador from the Federation. "We still want peace. We still prefer talking to fighting. The only thing that changed is now you know we can defend ourselves. That should make you feel safer, not scared. We protect our friends." "But what if we disagree with humanity? What if we have conflicts?" "Then we negotiate. We compromise. We find solutions that work for everyone, just like always. The weapons don't change that. We only use weapons against people who use weapons against us. Are you planning to attack humanity?" "No, of course not." "Then you have nothing to worry about. Have some tea. Let's talk about trade agreements." Slowly the galaxy adjusted. The initial fear faded into new understanding. Humanity was strong but not aggressive, capable but not cruel, powerful but not dominating. They were exactly what they claimed to be, peaceful by choice. Director Minu met with Admiral one last time before she returned to retirement. They sat in his office drinking coffee and watching Earth spin below. "Do you think we'll need the Black Fleet again?" Minu asked. "Maybe, maybe not. Depends on how well the galaxy learns this lesson. Most species are smart enough to avoid repeating the mistake, but there's always someone stupid or arrogant. We'll be ready if needed." "You did well, Admiral. Clean victory, minimal casualties. You proved we could still fight when necessary." Smiled tiredly. "I proved we remember how to fight. That's different from wanting to fight. I hope I never wear this uniform again. I hope the Black Fleet sleeps forever, but if duty calls, we'll answer. Thank you for your service, for keeping the flame alive while the rest of us enjoyed the warmth." That's what Guardians do. We watch the shadows so others can walk in the light. On Earth, Doctor walked through her museum after closing time. She was alone with the displays, alone with history. She stopped at a new exhibit, a display case showing weapons captured during the battle. Next to it, a plaque explained what happened: the attack, humanity's response, the quick victory, the lesson learned. "Will they remember?" asked the empty room. "Will the change? Will other species learn, or will we have to do this again?" The museum didn't answer. History couldn't predict the future. It could only teach lessons. Whether anyone learned those lessons was up to them. Locked the museum doors and went home. Tomorrow would bring new visitors, new students, new people learning about humanity's past, about the violence they left behind, about the peace they chose, about the strength that protected that peace. The Millennium Peace Protocol was active again, weapons locked away. Soldiers returned to civilian life. The galaxy looked peaceful once more, but everyone knew the truth now. Everyone understood. Peace was a choice. Humanity chose it, and they were strong enough to defend that choice. Across human space, life continued normally. Children played, adults worked, families gathered for dinner. Nobody talked about war. Nobody wanted to remember. They wanted to live, to love, to build, to create. That's what the 1,000 years of peace gave them. That's what they fought to protect. And in the darkness between stars, hidden in a pocket dimension, the Black Fleet waited. 5,000 ships in silent sleep. Weapons ready, crews on standby, guardians watching, just in case. Just in case someone forgot the lesson. Just in case peace ended again. But humanity hoped it wouldn't. They hoped the next 1,000 years would be peaceful. They hoped the would change. They hoped other species would remember. They hoped that showing strength once would prevent the need to show it again. Hope was good. Hope was human, but so was preparation, so was vigilance, so was the willingness to defend what mattered. Lieutenant Shin wrote in her journal that night. She was back to routine patrols, back to boring days of nothing happening. She liked boring now. Boring was good. We proved something important, she wrote. We proved peace and strength can exist together. We proved choosing peace doesn't mean accepting abuse. We proved humanity can be kind to friends and terrible to enemies. I hope we never have to prove it again. I hope the galaxy learned. I hope we get another 1,000 years of boring, peaceful, beautiful nothing happening. But if we don't, we're ready. We'll always be ready. She closed the journal and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, they were learning new ways to live. Somewhere out there, other species were reconsidering their aggressive tendencies. Somewhere out there, the galaxy was becoming safer because humanity showed what happened when you attacked the peaceful. The millennium of peace ended briefly. Then it began again, stronger this time, more honest this time, protected by truth instead of ignorance, and that made all the difference. Director Minu had the final word in his personal log, the entry nobody would read for years, the private thoughts of a leader who made hard choices. We killed millions in 3 hours, we destroyed their fleet, we humiliated their empire, and we did it all to protect peace. Is that irony or necessity? I don't know, maybe both. Maybe that's the human condition, capable of terrible violence, choosing gentle peace, ready for either, hopping for one, prepared for both. The millennium peace ends. The millennium peace continues. We are humanity. We laugh at threats. We cry for the dead. We fight when necessary. We live in peace when possible. And we never, ever forget who we are or what we're capable of. That's our strength. That's our choice. That's our future. The galaxy moved forward, changed but steady, peaceful but aware. And humanity returned to what they did best, exploring, creating, building, living, choosing peace, defending that choice, being human. The end, or perhaps the beginning of another 1,000 years.